Hi there. Welcome to the Whoops. Start over again. Hi there, and welcome to the Beta Show. I'm joined by John in Thailand and James in England, and I'm Jamie, and I'm in the United States. So we are decentralized. And today we're going to just talk a little bit about some of the news that's going on, and this is the beta show, so this show is about getting you on your own show and just coming on and getting comfortable with being on camera, and so you can have some help starting your own shows and things like that. So we just want to be able to get some more people out there to express themselves and be able to have their own shows on the World Crypto Network. So if you have a show idea or want to come on the beta show, get a hold of one of us at the World Crypto Network, and we will be glad to work with you and help you through some of that frustrating stuff that comes up when you're trying to put together a show of all your own. And for other World Crypto Network stuff, you can check out the schedule at worldcryptonetwork.com, and we're working on a new website for the network, and hopefully we'll have a new prototype of that out soon. We're looking forward to that. And let me see, Mr. Chris Ellis just released the audio of the what would you call it? The audio of the BBC Click interview with Peter Todd and Amir Taki and them that kind of turned into a slander piece almost, or it was kind of a hit piece. And so if you're interested in that, what really happened in that interview, because outside of the UK, I could only see the 3-minute video that just was all about how dark wallet would be if terrorists got a hold of using it and stuff. And I think Amir kind of provoked it a little bit, but that's not what Bitcoin is about or anything. It's not specific to any one use. It's kind of it's an open technology and a tool and can be used for good or bad. It's neutral in its stance. What do you guys think about that? Just something quick. Hey, John.
Sorry, I'm just on my new phone. Can you hear my audio okay this time?
Yeah, I hear you great.
I've had some audio problems, as you know, and I think the things like this, the beta shows, nice to play around and make all our mistakes here before you try and do anything. Chris's audio, I've just finished downloading it because the audio I was listening to on the computer was very hard to hear. It's okay if you read the transcript with it, but I'll download it and see if I can enhance the audio. I wouldn't like to comment on it. It was very difficult for me to take in because there's a lot of new terminology and concepts to get around. Maybe tech people can follow it and fill in the gaps, but for me, I'd rather comment after spending some time on it.
Okay, James, did you get a chance to see any of it, or to hear any of it, or see the transcript?
I saw the original show. I do know that the very first broadcasting of it they made was actually a cut down version, and ironically didn't include the piece, but they play the show out about 6 times repeatedly over the weekend, as it goes out as sort of part of the news, and sort of breakfast TV. I think its main timing is breakfast television on the weekend. But they obviously felt this was a good time to actually do this show, do the interview. I know Chris said Amir had sort of asked them if they would like to do an interview at the time, but obviously the ISIS theme was something on their minds, and they were more than happy to do it. And I think they went in there too close-mindedly, and they weren't prepared to consider any alternatives. And one of the main things that Chris has said, and actually appears in the transcript, and it will be there in the audio if you listen to it, is that there's a lot of stuff that Peter Todd said, and one of the main things was how Bitcoin would enable people in places like Iraq and Syria to actually be free from a tyranny run by dollars and old-fashioned money by the terrorists. It would mean that those people, rather than the terrorists benefiting from it, they've got, I don't know how much money they've got, $80 million or something. They're already rich as far as it goes. They don't need Bitcoin. It's going to be it's the poor and oppressed who need the money. So Bitcoin will obviously, they'll be able to use Bitcoin, where the terrorists won't be able to stop them. So, it's a sort of amazing piece that failed to make note of this sort of the ability for Bitcoin to provide freedom, really, freedom from oppression. And of course, and one of the main ways Peter Todd has put it is that Bitcoin is freedom of speech in itself. So.
Yeah, and I had pointed out on Twitter too. About 2 weeks ago, Midas Marney on World Crypto Network did an interview with an Iranian woman who had spent a lot of time in Afghanistan with women in the Taliban that were being oppressed and couldn't have bank accounts or anything like that, and is running an organization, and they're able to send Bitcoin to these women that are in the Taliban, or under oppression of the Taliban, I should say, and it's helping those women with the situations they're in over there. So, I mean, it's like any tool, a hammer can be used for good or bad. It's the intent of the user, I think, and I think we'd find a whole lot more use cases for good than we would for bad, and it just seemed like a hit piece to me. But I didn't see the full 15-minute version. It was blocked outside of the UK, so I only saw the 3-minute version, or minute and a half, whatever it was, and so that's about all I can say about that. And I was in communication with Chris during the whole thing, but I haven't saw the transcript. I've only heard parts of the audio, and that's about all I can say about it. So, well, I wonder if I got John's audio back here. He had some chickens or something going on in the background. Oh, I lost him again. Apparently it's difficult to do this on a cell phone with the audio.
He was very clear though before.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just move on, and we'll see what he can come up with over there. And let me see, where were we? We just looked at that. Oh, And the Bitcoin price, I haven't looked at it since yesterday. It was right around $400. Has it done anything exciting today? Have you noticed?
I didn't take note of it actually. I think it might be down off of $400, to be honest.
Okay. Well, that shows you how concerned we are about the price of Bitcoin.
Well, you know, you get used to these things, and it has its inherent value. You know, it doesn't. Following the price is it is something that you tend to do at the beginning, but after a fashion, it has no real bearing.
Okay, now it sounds like John's got his audio back.
Yeah, you muted me.
Oh, I couldn't unmute you though. You had
I have to unmute myself. I have to unmute myself. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds
That's
like
to say,
you had chickens
if
or
you mute
something.
me, if you mute me, I still have to unmute myself to come back in. Is that correct?
Apparently.
Okay. I didn't know. I thought you were going to unmute me.
I was trying to unmute you, but it wouldn't let me.
Okay.
Have you guys seen anything about now with the Google and Apple phones with Android and Apple iPhones? They're saying that with the encryption and stuff, they will not unlock the encryption for police and stuff now, but the courts in the United States anyway are saying, well, we're going to hold you in jail until you decide to do it yourself. Do you have any comments on that, John?
Yeah, I read that. That was about 3 or 4 days ago. I sent it to the link to my friend, and I believe it's my thoughts that Apple, Google, and these companies, it's going to be done as standard. At the moment, you have to opt in, and I believe it's because of the amount of court cases and stuff. If they do not have your password, they cannot be ordered to release it. There is no point in taking Google or Apple to the court. They're sidestepping it and say, we do not have this person's password or encryption. We can't help you. And I believe that more companies will go that way. If somebody wants to get my details, it's 100% correct that they should have to come and deal with me and say, we're taking you to court, we want access to your private information. And if it's private, it should be only me that can do it. Now, if somebody wants to hold you in jail or in contempt until you release it, if it's private information, what business is it of anybody's? What standing do they have in your affairs? And yeah, I'm happy. Do we have control? My tech side is not good enough. If Google say, well, we don't have your password, or Apple say we can't access your account, I would need to have a coder or somebody look at the code and say, don't worry, Louis, you're the only person that's got it. But yeah, it's the way to go.
Yeah, and I think by doing that, it just saves Google and Apple a whole lot of frustration dealing with police requests and all of that. When I worked for the library system, I used to get police and FBI and all those guys would call me all the time wanting records, and I'd be like, I can't do it. It's all protected by privacy, and I can't do it. And even though I had the technical ability at the time, if they got a search warrant, I would have had to have done it. But I would just pretty much tell them, no, doesn't exist. We don't have that information.
So it looks like Google and Apple are making a financial decision rather than a moral decision.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Well, that works. As long as I think it should be made from a moral and an ethical standpoint, and they should say that this content doesn't belong to us, and you should deal with the person. But I would imagine it's quite expensive for companies like Google and Apple, and they get bad publicity, and yeah, just sidestep it. We've never had the key, we don't have access to it, so and at the moment, from what I understand reading the article, you can opt into this, but from the new iOS new operating systems, that will be the standard, the default position, that everything's encrypted. And earlier when we're talking about the dark wallet, well, tax dollars kill people, so maybe everybody should stop paying tax. Yeah, they do. Nice. They say no. Well, this is if crypto can be used to fund guns and bombs and kill people, well, tax dollars do the exact same. So let's make it an even thing across the board. And these are the ethical things that I'm more interested in. You know, it's okay for us to take money and use it to buy guns and ammunitions and bomb schools and children and you know, use drones. But if somebody wants to do it on a small scale, that's not allowed. No, nobody should be allowed. Not the governments, not the armies. And as I say, when we say that the government kill or the Taliban kill or ISIS, no, humans kill humans.
Yeah, morality changes when a group of people gather together and call themselves a government. The morality changes for some reason, and it's all basically due to the perception of the people have been brainwashed over the years to say, okay, if you call yourself government, morality doesn't apply to you.
Thou shalt not kill unless wearing a badge. No, I'm sure that the commandments don't make exceptions. Thou shalt not kill unless wearing uniform. The commandments in Christianity and the precepts in Buddhism and other religions are very clear. There is no exceptions. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt refrain from killing. So where do these so-called moral people and leaders decide that thou shalt not kill unless paid to do so? I don't kill people unless I'm getting paid for it. Then that seems to make it okay. It's my job. Somebody gives me money to kill people. I don't do it on my own time. You know, it's
yeah.
These issues really confuse me. If you agree it's wrong to kill, then that's it. There should be no. I won't kill unless the government tell me to do it, or I won't kill unless my boss tells me to do it. I won't kill unless somebody pays me to do it. Yeah, this is crazy, and it's not that complicated. Thou shalt not kill, and the Buddhist precept is will refrain from killing, and I'm sure that it's in every other religion. I'm sure there's no religion that teaches it's correct to go out and kill people.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with too many religions other than I was brought up with Christianity, and it was, you know, they had the Ten Commandments and all of that. There was a load of hypocrisy on top of it, is why I opted out of it, and I pretty much just go by the non-aggression principle, where there's basically do no harm, and you're allowed
unless
to
wearing a uniform and carrying a badge. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but people won't address the real issue. You know. Anyway, that's for me for the dark wallet. The crypto thing. One of the things I was trying to mention on the show with about dark wallet was this anonymous, many donors who want to help charities and projects and things. Not everybody wants to be seen to be upfront and giving money. A lot of people prefer a donation to be anonymous, and it can be for many reasons. Maybe politicians shouldn't be allowed to accept donations through Dark Wallet, but you know they're accepting crypto money and crypto Bitcoin donations, other things. So most people can see that there's a lot of benefits to it, and the anonymous side should be looked at as a choice. You can sign in. I can use the blockchain as normal or whatever. I can sign my messages, and email in that sense could be anonymous, because you can open up an email account with a telephone number. You don't need to say who you are. You could put fake names. So this anonymity thing, I think the BBC Click is a technical program, and it should have looked at the tech rather than the social. They don't do it. I noticed that they pulled the YouTube video that somebody put up, but that user also has other Click episodes, and what struck me as strange was that was the only episode that they removed due to copyright and content. All the other programs that the man or channel had loaded before, they were all left on. So they removed one Click. Now, to me, that says a lot. They know the person with the channel uploaded it, and they didn't look at it to see if it had any other stuff. It come up all on the right side, the same user, but they didn't pull that content. They only pulled the last show. So I'm not sure what their thinking is behind that, or the guy's just sloppy at his job.
Well, let's move on now. I saw this. The UPS store, United Parcel Service, will have 3D printers at its stores now, and it'll print 3D things for you. If you send them a 3D image file, they will print it out, and you can go pay them and pick it up at your local store. It seemed like kind of an interesting thing. It looks like it'll be mighty expensive, but now, James, you told me off air that you had some 3D printing experience and stuff. What's your take on it?
My first take is that it's an incredibly slow process. So I've got some examples of some 3D printing that I've done here, and I'll be honest, I don't know if you can try and show the camera, and that's the sort of herringbone gear. So it's sort of double directional, and you put them together so they don't slip, and I think they wear less, you know, and you can make, you know, that's a really easy piece, but it's a bit of a spec piece as well, for a 3D printer. These ones that they'll be doing will be a lot higher standard, and they are incredibly expensive. I mean, for fun, I had this coin made that's I've got the lights over there. Yeah, you can't see that at all, really.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, yeah, and that's quite finely detailed, but there is marks in it. You can see it's sort of got a rough finish to it, but it's very, very sharp. You know, it's about 1/16 of an inch, the actual embossing, or that, well, the cutaway in it. And when their ones are doing colour, and here's some colour I've actually had.
That's much clearer.
Yeah, and this is actually sandstone material, I think. And it's the only, and this is all done at Shapeways, the two coins, and it's the only one where you can only material they do in colour presently, and but the detailing isn't that great on that, and I think the ups would be more like Shapeways. But they can do now sort of gold. They do metals. I think they print them in plastic first or wax. Actually, you can get wax ones done, so you can do sort of lost wax casting, and the wax is quite cheap. See, plastic is the cheapest thing, and wax is actually quite cheap material as well. and yeah, but they cast them out in, they use sterling silver, and they highly polish it for you. But that's incredibly, they're quite expensive. I thought that what was interesting about the video was the makeup that they were doing, and the ability to create all sort of different shades you wanted to for your own complexion, which would be, it would be interesting because in a way makeup doesn't always work with every complexion. I hesitate to say such a thing that I've ever seen a woman not look good in makeup. So you've got to tread carefully here, but you can almost see a sort of a certain colour, a chart of them that actually works coming out, and then perhaps you could vary it yourself. But I don't know. You may end up spending sort of £20 on £20 or so, or you know, something equivalent in dollars on a little thing of makeup of a particular colour. So they might be quite expensive, and then you perhaps you'd actually want to go back and change, you know, change the you know, make it lighter or darker. A different hue sort of thing, so it actually worked well. But it seems quite interesting that they're doing them in stores, that you could go down there and collect them. I know this week they've, I think it's Amazon, have actually now got lockers in Heathrow Airport where you can click and collect from Heathrow if you wanted to go down there. So this whole system is building and building and building, where it's no longer a case of having stuff delivered to your door, but able to go out and get it. But I know the Shapeways thing, they can take over a month to deliver. So if UPS can do it in under a week, it'll be a lot better. You know, if they can produce a quality product at a reasonable price, and they can do it in a quick time, then they'll actually have a lot of people going there. That will make an actual big difference. But they didn't say anything much about that. They went on about the makeup angle, which I think that's an interesting angle. It's really an interesting thing for them to do. I'm guessing most women wouldn't be able to go into a sort of colour chart and sort of work out necessarily what shades they'd want from spec, but I guess you could, I don't know whether you'd be holding up something to your face, or you'd have a starting point in the makeup you had, and then you'd be looking at a lighter hue, so it would become more technical. But
what they probably do is, I know I had got my sister this makeup program once where she took a picture of her face and then she could like paint on it on the computer. So, I mean, that was her favorite program. She just loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, I played with there's stuff on Google Hangout to do as well. You can, but yeah, it's good fun.
Did you say it's United Parcel Service that's introducing this?
Yes.
Ah, you know, let's say if I had something I wanted to send to you, some part or something, I wouldn't need to send the part. I could actually send the drawing to UPS, and they could print it in America and send it to you. I wouldn't need to send it overseas. I wouldn't need to send the actual article, only the now that could become a very, I mean, I don't know how much the shipping and air freights cost, but I mean, you're talking about makeup and expense, but for me to send a small item to you, Jamie, in the post, you know, if it goes by weight on the aeroplane, or you wait 6 weeks, I mean, UPS actually might have a very good idea there. I could send my drawing or whatever to them in an email. They could print it. You could have that thing maybe within a day or two, and not having to pay huge air freight costs.
Yeah, that's one thing I had thought of when 3D printers that first came out, was it's kind of almost to the point of teleportation now, where you can have a physical object in one area, basically scan it, and then send it through the internet to another part of the world and print it out again. and except for it doesn't destroy the original.
Well, I was thinking at first, this is technology for like a space station, or say like down on a submarine or something. When you need a tool, and any engineer knows, it doesn't matter how many tools you've got, the one you left at home is always the one that you just need for that job. Now, especially submarines, different things like that, they're not spacious, so room to work, or fitting a key in or something, to be able to make something right on location, especially in space, it costs a lot to send up. Now, if they've got work to do in a space station, rather than take a whole toolbox, they could take some printers and they could print their own tools. And as I say, I think the 3D printers got huge benefits, but I'm surprised if they're focusing on makeup and stuff. But yeah, I think UPS actually could be on to a winner with this idea.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if they are using recyclable material for like the tools, like you were saying, if you need a wrench and you only need it for so long, you could recycle it and put it back in your 3D printer and print it out again as a screwdriver.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you wouldn't have to have all that material either stored out.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I'll look into the UPS thing. I haven't been on the computer for 2 days. I've been out doing prison visits and stuff. So I say, feeling a bit heady and fevery. I think it's the communal phones that we have to use. Everybody with their germs breathing into the same phone. So at least I feel a little bit better now. So I'll catch up over the next few days, and maybe we do it on Podio or something. I'll put some messages in there.
Yeah, that can't be the healthiest thing, sharing something that's close to your face with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
It's all cash, isn't it?
Cash?
Cash.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that does it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to speak to somebody that's in the prison, you don't have an option. It's they just use the old telephone handset, so there's no telephone. You're just talking to them face to face, so that they can't pass drugs or anything. So.
Or do they have the glass
I just
in
noticed.
front of you?
Yeah. So I noticed this. I sometimes feel like this. It's. I think maybe the phones get moved around or cleaned up, so you could get ones the same. All the boys on the inside, they're the same. When people are sick, they come out for their visits. They're breathing down into the phones, and the person that comes in behind, there's no gel, there's no disinfectants and stuff. If you want it, you probably have to supply your own. But it's a 20-minute visit, so you can imagine the turnover per day in different phones, and it's not always one person. When I visit, I'm usually on my own. Sometimes a woman's gone taking a couple of kids. Small kids are always got runny noses and stuff like that. So everybody's gets the same, and I've always noticed this is how I feel after a visit. So the show notes I didn't get time to read, so I'll let you continue with your show notes and catch up.
Well, we're about up to a half an hour here. I was going to go over this, brush on it quickly. SWIFT is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, is the system used for most international bank-to-bank transfers which occur every day. Russia has for the last 6 months been searching for an alternative, having highlighted a desire to move away from the existing USA-dominated system. Well, they've been searching for a new system because of USA sanctions against Russia, and they've been closing down this bank communication system on Russia So they're trying to, through sanctions, cut off Russia's financial system. And what's happening is there's this company called UnionPay that is moving in to help Russia and China take over and build their own system for interbank communication. And Apple just happens to be also working with UnionPay, which I thought was a convenient tie-in with their new Apple phone or iPhone payment system. So I just wanted to mention that, and I'll put links to in the description down below if anybody wants to investigate that any further. But I just thought it all tied in pretty neat compared to, or seeing it was all timely with Apple Pay being just announced and the sanctions on Russia, and then everything coming out at the same time.
Okay, I was getting confused between Swift and Storm. That's for sure. I'm feeling a bit groggy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Swift. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, well, I guess, and that's about all I have. So I want to thank John and James for coming on the show. And remember, you can be on the show too. Just get a hold of me on Twitter at JamieNelson1 and or somebody else at the World Crypto Network, and they'll get you in touch with me. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Good night.